Hi, good evening, everyone. I am Abhishek, the Customer Success Manager for Navtor's clients in the Asia Pacific region. So my topic today is sailing into the future with a lens on digital integration. So let's dive in. So for over a century, we have the industry relying on manual operations and being resistant to change. We have about a whopping 80% of global ports still relying on conventional methods like spreadsheets and whiteboards and email correspondence. So just like the unknowns of the depth and the reach of the oceans from Ernest Shackleton's time, we're seeing something similar with the digital era in 2023. But we've come a long way and we're just getting started. So in 2021 alone, we had an overall amount of global data received estimated at around 79 zettabytes. That is 79 trillion GB. And by 2025, we expect this to double. So with this volume of increasingly complex data increasing exponentially, we're going to need some help, and the industry is worried whether they're going to struggle to leverage this data. So we need the right technology tools in place, and we need those to not complicate but to simplify. But technology is not going to get us there alone. Embracing digitalization is going to require a paradigm shift in the people that are providing the technology as well as using the data. For that, we need to have their buy-in by providing the why. It's also understandable that there is a lack of collaboration across the industry. There's a general hesitancy to share data, and this is because there's a lack of understanding of each player's unique perspective and what they can do by contributing. So with the lack of this sharing, we see unsuccessful implementation of new technologies, and an example of that is in 2018, Maersk and IBM had a joint venture called TradeLens, and this was meant to digitalize global supply chains. And unfortunately, earlier this year, they folded. And the reason they cited was that there was a lack of industry buy-in and participation, and they just were not commercially viable anymore. So this is what can happen if you ignore the dangers of fragmentation. So whether we agree or not, data-driven operations are here to stay. And if we share this data, we can compound this effect and the way forward. So managing and analyzing this data set is alone a skill set, and we don't expect most organizations to know how to identify inefficiencies within this data set. But it doesn't have to be this way. We have intelligent software-based solutions that can make sense of this complex data for you and pave the way forward for a larger cultural shift in mindset toward data-driven decision-making. So as a refresher, I'd like to break down what decision-making is into 5 steps that we have heard about before. Number 1 is to identify the goal. Number 2 is to gather the relevant information. Number 3 is to then make an assessment. Number 4 is to make the decision. And number 5 is to evaluate the decision. And you might say, do we have the time really to follow all these steps down to a T to make a decision each time? And I say yes. Enter data-based decision making. So they augment every step of this process, and with that reduce the time and the capital associated with making these choices. So today's software solutions do exactly that. Provide insights into multiple aspects of your organization by collating high volume, depth, and quality data to help a user to eventually make rapid, accountable, targeted decisions that are in alignment with your business needs. Here's a slide by DNV Maritime, and you can see it shows you the velocity with which there's acquisition, processing, interpretation, and acting upon of this data, and depends not only as much on the technology that is in place, but also the people that are using it. So here's a calling for everybody to come together and bring in their collective and shared experience. Here's a slide that was recently conducted by SMM and published earlier this month, actually, and shows current trends in digitalization after a survey that they took. So how does Navtor become a technology provider in this? We like to position ourselves as a force of innovation. Here's a timeline of our journey, and some recent highlights have been a new office in Greece, and in 2021 and 2022 we acquired a performance solution based out of the US and a digital logbook solution based out of India. We have a hardware called the Navbox on around 9,000 plus vessels, and we leverage that by trying to create a digital ecosystem. And with this, we aim to head toward a safe and a sustainable fleet-wide operation. So I'd like to highlight two of these solutions here, NavStation and NavFleet. So NavStation, it puts total control in the hands of navigators by being the ultimate maritime route planning tool. Seamlessly integrates with the very latest critical voyage data into a single user-friendly platform. So it's built on the foundation of existing ENC market-leading service that Navtor has been providing, and allows users to choose layers on top of these ENCs. Earlier today, we talked a bit about criminality and what can be done about it with MARPOL violations. You have something called the environmental layers over here that can give you real-time insight into where you're located and what you can and cannot do. So it's one system, one platform. The database and the permits are also seamlessly updated, distributed through our cyber-secure Navbox. So once the plan is complete, verified, approved, you can monitor and execute your voyage. But what about compliance? Brings me to NavFleet. It's designed to be a total ship operations platform, designed in conjunction with other ship owners. It's again a one system with multiple streams of information from vessel and shoreside. So you now have improved planning, execution, as well as compliance with DCS, MRV, CII in one place, and soon EU ETS. You have a single source of truth and insight into vessel performance, and you gain situational awareness. Compliance and future-proofing. So with the seriousness of CII and the upcoming EU ETS, it would bode well for owners and operators to be able to simulate ahead, thereby reducing costs, reducing emissions, also keeping in mind the future regional ETS that we talked about earlier. So NavFleet wants to be your ally to ensure compliance. Also provides transparency, accountability, and data sharing through providing information through multiple sources of sensors on board if you have a data collection system on board, whether it's emissions, performance, or weather. We have a simplified way of compliance verification. The emissions data is continuously fed on a weekly or 10-day basis, currently with a partnership with DNV through DNV Veracity API. And soon we expect something similar in 2024 with Class NK. So shipping, like most businesses, would rely on time and money as their currency. And I feel if you want to optimize your strategy ahead, data-enabled decision-making is the key. So I want to close with, I want to stress again, we must all share and learn from our experiences, because if we imagine progress with digitalization the way it's meant to be, we need to collaborate. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much.